Hey everyone, good Sunday evening. Welcome back, guys, to another show. Today, we're going to start things out talking about healthcare. Not specifically just healthcare, but really like the care that we're giving our own kids and the food that we're feeding them and how this ties into the larger picture of American health. We've heard a lot, guys, about how Europe and other countries are prioritizing their health and how the food, there's a lot more laws around what food is. So today we're looking at where the line is when it comes to government influence on our food. So first of all, I want to show you this video of Dr. Nicole Saphier, who's done a lot of research on this. She's going to weigh in on a lawsuit against major food companies for targeting kids with ultra-processed foods. I think you're going to find this extremely interesting. Let's check it out.
This week, HHS Secretary nominee RFK Jr. will meet with senators on Capitol Hill ahead of his confirmation hearing next month.
But the battle against big food is already taking shape as one Pennsylvania man sues nearly a dozen companies, accusing them of marketing ultra-processed foods to kids.
Fox News contributor Dr. Nicole Saphier joins us now. And you know what, Dr. Nicole, we got some stats we would just want to share. It's actually shocking when you think about the health crisis in the country. We talk a lot about adults, but let me tell you about some kids. I just want to get your reaction. 1 in 5 Americans between the ages of 12 and 18 are pre-diabetic. That's mind-blowing. That's according to a 2019 study. 5 to 10% of children have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That according to a 2021 study. What's your reaction to those stats?
Well, unfortunately, it's shocking, but not surprising. And we've been watching this trend happen for the last decade or so. And while we have come to accept the fact that American adults tend to be overweight, have metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, and diabetes, it's now going into our children. And that makes sense, right? Because whatever lifestyles we as adults are doing, it goes down into our children as well. So the lifestyle behaviors, unfortunately, is now harming our children.
You know, Nicole, sometimes the best questions that you can ask someone happen off camera after you finish the interview. And I just talked to Mae Musk, and I said, what's your best beauty tip? You know, here's this elegant woman who's aged so gracefully, and she said, watch what you eat. And we talked a little bit about what RFK Jr. is doing and so forth. Here is a consumer, by the way, a lawsuit. Consumer Brands Association. Food safety and protecting the integrity of the food supply is priority number 1 for food and beverage manufacturers. Their attempt to classify foods as unhealthy simply because they are processed or demonizing food and ignoring its full nutrient content misleads consumers and exacerbates health disparities. So that's the food industry trying to defend itself against the fact that RFK Jr., and so many in the Make America Healthy Again movement, Cali Means, et cetera, are saying, hey, these ultra-processed foods are killing Americans, making them unhealthy, and pushing and propelling chronic disease in America.
Well, Rachel, you have to remember, this is a much bigger topic than just combating big food industry. What we're talking about is harmful consumerism and marketing to the population of items that may be harmful. We saw this with big tobacco in the 1960s and 70s, but we still see alcohol being advertised, pharmaceuticals being advertised. These all have addiction potentials, and they really feed on our natural dopamine pathways, which is our reward centers in the brain. So the big question is, you know, what are we doing here? If the product is harming the actual consumer, is the pitch, is it even working for the consumer, or is this purely profit driven? Because the harsh reality is people profit off of addiction. And so one question, there's a lawsuit going on right now out of Philadelphia or out of Pennsylvania where there's someone who's a teenager has that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and they're now saying that the big food industry, because of their marketing and of these addictive substances, led to this. And while that may be true, I think marketing is very aggressive, especially to our younger populations. We see it with social media. We know there are consequences when it comes to these marketing campaigns. But I also have the question, where are the parents in all of this? We also, as individuals, have to be holding ourselves accountable for some of this as well. Yes, there are aggressive and harmful marketing campaigns. There is disgusting chemicals in our food supply, especially that's what's accessible to lower income populations. But also we have to think of, as the individual, what are we choosing to do?
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is, you guys, that our government is subsidizing ultra processed food, and it's going to poor people in particular. I think that's really
That
the
seems like
crux
that
of
would
it.
be an easy thing to effectuate. We know they're going to go for transparency when it comes to a lot of the pharmaceuticals. How we implement change on food is going to be the hardest nut to crack, but I think subsidies is a great place to start.
Yeah.
Dr. Saphier, always great to see you. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, let me first of all start out by saying, guys, thanks for watching the video today. Big shout out to Deanne Scott for being in the chat. Let's go. And guys, if you're watching this after we've gone live, then know that I go live every day, 5 p.m. That's the target time. So 5 p.m. guys. If it's not raining and if the flood's not coming, then then I'll be here 5 o'clock. So thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for supporting the stream. But here's the thing, guys, with the food lawsuits and everything that's happening right now. And I appreciate that Dr. Nicole Saphier mentioned this, because we forget this a lot, that in the end, it's the primary responsibility is going to go to the parent. Now, here's the thing. If parents would wake up and start, and I think it's just awareness, right? A lot of parents don't understand, don't realize. I know that my parents didn't understand, didn't realize that we're literally being poisoned by the food companies in this country, by the processed food companies. It's crazy. And so I think it starts with awareness, and then it moves to responsibility. As soon as parents are aware, then they can start taking personal responsibility, right, for what their kids are eating. Now, this is where it moves on to economics. As soon as parents realize that they're feeding their kids poison, they're going to stop doing it. Generally, most parents, believing that they're good, good American people that love their kids, then they're going to stop giving the bad food to their kids as much as they can afford, right? And that's where it's going to actually impact the company's wallet. See, it's all economics, guys. It's all economics. As soon as the government, or as soon as the company starts feeling a hit in their wallet, then they'll change their policies. Guys, we have to speak with our money. It's all, if you want to know the truth, follow the money trail. 100%. The reason that companies are doing what they're doing is because of money. I'll tell you right now that whoever makes your ultra processed foods, they're not prioritizing your health. They're prioritizing their income. They're prioritizing their revenue. That's what companies care about. You can't expect companies to watch out for your health, and that's why we have to hold companies accountable for the kind of food that they're producing. Don't buy the bad food. And then the economics changes. So where does the government, what's the play in the government? Should the government come in and just shut down all unhealthy foods? Well, this is where you have to balance, a free market, a free enterprise society with smart decisions. And here's the thing. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion. Y'all have to tell me. But I think in America, companies ought to have the right to make unhealthy food. Okay? I think they ought to have the right to make unhealthy food. The criminal part of this is in the marketing, where they market their unhealthy food as healthy. There's the kicker, and that's where we have to hold companies responsible. As long as people understand that what you're buying is poison. I think people ought to have the right to smoke. I think people ought to have the right to drink. As long as they're not putting other people's lives in danger, you ought to be able to have the right to do what you want to do here in this free country. But the government and people need to get involved and understand that the government needs to outline what companies are producing in their foods, what's going on with these ultra-processed foods. Again, it's all awareness, guys. And let's start up some programs to start getting healthier foods to more people. She mentioned it there. If you're low socioeconomic and you can barely put food on your table, you're not going to be buying the organic, ultra organic natural ingredients that cost 4, 5, 6 times, especially with inflation that's blowing up right now. Poorer families cannot afford the good food that they need to give their foods, and so now they're being forced to feed their kids things that are that are not safe and essentially poisoned. They're essentially poisoning their kids over time, and you're not going to live as long if you stay on a diet that is completely unhealthy for you. So I think it all goes to awareness. It goes to programs that's getting healthy foods back into Americans' kitchens, and holding companies responsible for clearly identifying what kind of food and what's going on with the food that they're selling, so that Americans know, hey, when you go and buy that bag of Cheetos, don't expect to be in prime ultimate health. So I'm excited to see what RFK is going to do in the government and see what he's going to bring. But just understand, guys, primary responsibility is on us. It's a free country. People have the right to buy unhealthy food. So anyway, Deanne Scott says a problem with foods like vegetables and fruits, they don't last long and they're way too expensive. That's another great point I didn't even think about, guys, is that a lot of people buy unhealthy foods because they last way longer. All the processing makes it shelf stable and makes it easier to sell over a long period of time. So great point there. All right, let's move on, because Mitt Romney, y'all remember Mitt Romney, guys. He ran for president, wasn't successful in his attempt. Well, he has something to say about Donald Trump and his win, so I want to show you all this clip real quick.
A very famous book talked about Abraham Lincoln choosing a team of rivals. This is a team of people who are very, very different, extraordinarily different backgrounds, different perspectives on issues, in some cases, I think, even than the president. So an unusual collection of individuals, not the people I would have chosen, but I lost. He won, all right? I'd like to revisit that and win, but I didn't get that chance. And so these are the kind of people he wants to run, and he's entitled to that. Now, the Senate has a responsibility to make sure that these people are legitimate, that there's no skeleton that could be an embarrassment to them or the country, and to also determine if they're qualified for the position that they've been nominated to. And I expect them to carry out that responsibility with conscience and diligence. Donald Trump won. He won overwhelmingly. He said what he was going to do, and that's what he's doing. I mean, people are saying, oh, I don't like this appointment or this policy that he's talking about. But those are the things he said he was going to do when he ran. So you can't complain about someone who does what he said he was going to do. And I agree with him on a lot of policy fronts. I disagree with him on some things. But it's like, okay, give him a chance to do what he said he's going to do and see how it works out. No, actually, I've been pretty clean throughout my life. I'm not particularly worried about criminal investigations. And I don't know how much, by the way, of what the president says is hyperbole, because there was a lot of this person ought to be jailed and that person ought to be jailed that was said during the last two campaigns. But I think President Trump is likely to try and focus on the future. People who committed crimes, I'm sure, will be prosecuted, but I think that's few and far between.
So, okay, guys, so Mitt Romney, can you believe that even Mitt Romney warming up to Donald Trump, as we see here? And I love what he said there. He said, you can say what you want about Donald Trump, but he said what he was going to do. We elected him. You can't be mad at him for doing what he said he was going to do. You can't be mad at a politician and he's not even a politician. I guess he is a politician now, officially, but you can't be mad at a politician for doing what he said he was going to do. And that's exactly what I'm excited about Donald Trump for, is because I think he's going to actually do what he said he was going to do. So Mitt Romney there responding to Trump's win overwhelmingly. He overwhelmingly won. That word stuck out to me there. And then his call for, Congress to vet the incoming nominations to make sure that there aren't any skeletons in the closet. Well, we'll see what happens there. Mitt Romney is not the only one that is responding positively to Donald Trump. It seems like everybody's coming out of the woodwork and all of a sudden supporting this guy. Whereas, think about it. a year, 2, 3 years ago, everybody, I mean, people were turning their backs on Trump, even the longtime supporters. I mean, look at the end of his last presidency. His closest allies, even his own VP, right, is turning against him, kind of stabbing in the back, kind of distancing themselves from Donald Trump. He's indicted. He's impeached. Everything comes against him, and it seems like, man, this is the end of Donald Trump. But guess what? He turned it all around, and that's what I want to show you on this very last clip that we're going to look at today. But first of all, thanks guys for watching the stream. Thanks for leaving a like, supporting the video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, so I appreciate all y'all. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe for more videos like this every day, guys. Going live at 5 p.m. Central Time, and we'll bring you the most recent news and give you that conservative perspective. We're always looking for the truth, guys. Okay, last video. Trump is in his honeymoon stage. Politically, that's the little bit of time that you have right after you're elected. A lot of people didn't think he'd have a second honeymoon stage, but oh yeah, he got one. Y'all check it out.
President-elect Trump ringing the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange as Wall Street leaders grow increasingly optimistic about his second administration. And we are back now with the panel. So guys, a year ago, Trump was politically dead, and now he is Time Magazine's Person of the Year. He posted on Truth Social how it started, how it's going, with a photo of his 2023 mugshot there on the left. His inauguration is obviously poised to become a global event, even though Xi Jinping is not coming. The Chinese are sending a delegation to attend. What does this reflect, Mark?
So it's the greatest political comeback in American history. The last president to lose the White House and then win it back 4 years later was Grover Cleveland in 1892, and he didn't have to overcome the Mueller probe, the 2 impeachments, and 91 charges at the federal, state, and local level. This is a comeback for the ages, and what's happening now is Trump is getting something that he didn't get the first time around, which is a political honeymoon. Because in 2016, everybody thought he was a fluke. He didn't win the popular vote. Hillary was unpopular, and so they immediately went to attack him to say he was an accidental president, not my president. The resistance started. They launched all these attacks, and it's utterly failed. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. He's got complete unified control of government. He's now got a chance to have the honeymoon and a chance to push his agenda that normal presidents get.
Companies are really pouring money into Trump's inaugural fund. You've got Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, OpenAI's Sam Altman, all donating $1 million each. An opinion column from The Hill says Silicon Valley CEOs have been falling all over themselves to herald his win and positioning their companies to garner business from his administration. Zuckerberg didn't even congratulate Biden in 2020. So why is he scrambling to go to Mar-a-Lago in 24?
Well, I think a lot of these CEOs are looking at someone like Elon Musk, who has literally turned into Trump's right-hand man in many ways. Elon Musk is on calls with foreign leaders. You have Trump attending the launch of SpaceX. You have Trump slowly somewhat warming to the idea of X, even though he has Truth Social. They say they see the influence that Elon Musk is having, and I think a lot of these CEOs say, I sort of want to have a slice of that as well.
Well, meantime, as Trump is getting this honeymoon, Democrats are distancing themselves from Biden. The party really has no heir apparent after he leaves office. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro sounded off on Biden commuting a sentence of a former Luzerne County judge who was embroiled in this kids for cash scandal, accepted kickbacks for wrongly imprisoning kids in a for-profit prison. Here's what Shapiro said.
I do feel strongly that President Biden got it absolutely wrong and created a lot of pain here in northeastern Pennsylvania. This was not only a black eye on the community, the Kids for Cash scandal, but it also affected families in really deep and profound and sad ways.
Josh, what do you make of Biden's decision here? You know, he's a son of Scranton. Why would he upset his legacy in his hometown with this pardon?
Yeah, I mean, this is quite a way to go out. It feels like the end month theme of the Biden administration is commutations or pardons for pretty corrupt individuals. Started out with Hunter Biden. The Fox News poll that came out this past week showed about 2/3 of Americans disapprove of that decision. And now he's choosing to pardon or commute the sentences of some of the most corrupt politicians or judges in the country. There was an Illinois comptroller who embezzled over $50 million who got her sentence commuted. The Pennsylvania judge we just saw, the Governor Shapiro, thought this was unconscionable, that someone who sent juveniles to jail as part of a pay-for-play scheme. I don't know what Biden is doing. I don't think he's getting the best political advice, and it's certainly going to harm his legacy going forward.
Yeah, on that point, Anita Dunn, who is one of the president's closest advisors, publicly spoke out against his decision to pardon his son. She said, the argument is one I think many observers are concerned about. A president who ran to restore the rule of law, who's upheld the rule of law, who's really defended the rule of law, kind of saying, well, maybe not right now. It's one thing for Shapiro, who might be positioning himself to run in 28, to speak out against Biden, but Anita Dunn is not running for any public office. So why is she, Megyn, speaking out against her former boss?
I mean, I think that there is a lot of inside baseball here with the lawyers and her husband, Bob. But I do think that what she also said was the timing wasn't right. And I don't think she was criticizing the president. I think she was criticizing the timing of this. And I think that a lot of Democrats feel that way. Why did you do this first? Why was this not the very last thing you did in office if you were going to pardon your son? I don't think that anyone can fault the president for pardoning his son. He's already lost 2 children, and keeping Hunter out of jail or keeping Hunter's legal problems, to a stop where he is. I think no one can fault him for that. I don't think people actually really do care if he pardons his former addicted son who had these crimes when he was an addict. But I don't think Anita was criticizing the president's decision. She was criticizing the timing.
You can fault him for lying about it. He told the American people that he wasn't going to do it repeatedly and did it. And also the other thing he did is he validated Donald Trump's critique of the Justice Department, because he said, this is the quote, Hunter was singled out because he's my son. Raw politics has infected this process and led to a miscarriage of justice. So, that's exactly what Donald Trump says. He's saying that about his own Justice Department, about Merrick Garland has allowed raw politics to infect the justice process. Donald Trump will say, I agree, let's clean it up.
30 seconds left. Go ahead and respond.
Two things can be true here. And also, I also think that when the president was saying he wasn't going to pardon his son, he was running for president. The circumstances were different. I actually don't think the president was lying when he said that. I don't think he had an intention to. I think the circumstances changed. He saw some of the people that were being nominated, like Kash Patel, like, before it was Matt Gaetz, before Bondi. But I do think that he was afraid that these people were going to continue to come for his son. And I think he saw that he could put a stop to it and did that. So I don't necessarily think he was lying at the time he said those.
I guess we will see the fallout and whether any Democrats sort of take a step back from giving the president a bear hug as he exits his term. Thanks, panel. We will see you next.
Guys, oh, this is so bad for Joe Biden. It's so insane. And reading in the chat, guys, and Deanne, Jean, again, appreciate y'all for joining the live stream today. Really appreciate the support. But Jean, you made a great point that the bad people that are getting pardoned, they're going to reoffend, right? They're because they got off free. They didn't have to pay their dues. So since they got away one time, they're going to try to get away with it again. And all you're doing is you're enabling criminals to be criminals again. And then, yeah, that's another great point you made. Like, okay, the lighter pot smokers, that's fine. Pardon them. It's legal now almost all over the United States. It's not right to continue to keep these people locked up. Fine, let them go. But what you said exactly, you hit it on the head in that it's a cover-up for the other bad friends of Joe Biden that he's letting out of prison right here at the end of this absolute train wreck of a presidency, of an administration. Oh man, wow. Have we ever, maybe in the last, I don't know, at least in the last 30, 40 years, have we seen a presidency end so badly? This is just shocking, and even the Democrats are like, what is going on right now? Even the Democrats are starting to like reconsider everything that they're thinking about. And that's why I always say, guys, the future looks bright for those with common sense, conservative values that believe in truth. And that's what it is, guys, is there's an attack on truth nowadays, and we have to stand up for what we believe in, because we have to stand up for truth. We have to stand up for conservative values. We have to stand up for free market systems. Guys, we have to keep carrying the torch forward so that we can give it to the next generation. But It's just insane to me to see all the fallout. But the CEOs of major companies, all of these tech giants, you've got Apple, you've got Facebook, all these major companies, their CEOs are trying to cozy up and warm up to Donald Trump. You see in these last few days of Biden's presidency. Why? Because Donald Trump is actually going to get stuff done, and the things that the triggers that he's going to pull, the signatures that he's going to sign are going to have a very real impact on the top tech companies in this country. And even when you saw with the beginning of the video, health is on the chopping block, right? I mean, we've got RFK that's coming in, and he's coming in guns blazing, guys. He's coming in, with a mission. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what he does with these food companies here in America. What I would love to see is I would love just more of an awareness campaign. I want them to require more from these companies as far as these ingredients that are very unhealthy and bad for you. And that's, just like they did with tobacco, just like they did with XYZ, whatever you want to point your finger at. That's what I want to see with our processed food companies here in America, because people, as soon as they know, it's all knowledge, guys. As soon as people know, it's all about the truth. If we can get the truth out there and show what these companies are producing, what they're giving, what they're selling us, what we're feeding our kids, if we really could see the impact, if you could see, okay, 5, 6, 10, 30 years down the road, these are going to be the results of eating this every day, then it starts to be real. But anyway, hey, big shout out to OG Dog. Let's go. That's what's up. All right. Hey, big shout outs to all y'all guys. Deanne, Gene, OG Dog. Let's go, guys. Hey, slowly but surely, we are building a community, guys, of people that value truth, that value conservative principles, and that aren't deceived by the left-wing propaganda that we're seeing being propagated in our country these days, and really even around the world. But anyway, hey guys, I appreciate everybody watching the video today. It's something that's very, I guess, close to my heart, in that I want people to be healthy. I want people to be healthy, not just physically, but not just in what they eat, not just in the exercise, but also mentally, because there is an agenda that's going around in our world today to really deceive people, and it's all power and money. It all traces back to power and money and controlling the masses. But this channel, one of the main reasons I wanted to start this channel, guys, was to bring the truth so that others can see, hey, this food, it's going to hurt you physically. Hey, this is going to impact your kids' ability to be successful in their future. Hey, this, what they're saying here is wrong. It's a lie. Yeah, that's what this channel is all about, guys, is to shine the light on those that are wrong. So shine the light on the falsehoods, the deceptions that are being propagated all throughout our country today, and to say, hey guys, there is a truth. I know some people might say, hey, there's no truth. It's subjective. Whatever. That's baloney, right? They're saying that because they want to retain power and money. We're seeing it even with these companies. As soon as people start blowing the whistle, look, you saw what happened to Target. Everybody got upset with Target last year. They started boycotting them. Guess what? Target changed their values. They changed their principles. Why? Because they value the money. So if we as consumers can stand up and say, hey, we're not going to eat this. We're not going to eat this, and start choosing companies that produce healthier foods, they're going to change. And we've got to push this and make it healthier for those that can't afford to get the food that is actually going to, let you live longer, let you live without these diseases and things that are caused because of the food that we're eating every day. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Any last words, guys? Target is back online without DEI. That's right. They are. They came back. I'm in the man cave working out and watching YouTube. That's what's up. That's what's up, guys. Let's get out there. Got to get those push-ups in. That's what I keep telling myself. Right now I'm trying to do 100 push-ups a day. So That is the thing right now. Good movie. OG. Power money propaganda. That's it. Power money propaganda. It's a cyclical cycle. Anyway, hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for staying alive in the chat over here, lighting it up. I appreciate reading everybody's comments, thoughts. Y'all have an awesome, fantastic, good afternoon, evening, and I'll see you again tomorrow, 5 o'clock, and we're going to talk about whatever craziness happens tomorrow. All right, y'all start out the week strong, guys. All right, and don't forget,